Hi, third grade. We're on to our next week of science lessons. Our first video is going to continue off from what we were doing last week. Last week I asked you to keep track of when the sunrise or sunset and sunset occurred. So we are going to talk about how we put that on the graphs that we put into our notebooks and what we're going to learn from that information. So as you can see, I did my sunrise for 5 days and put an X for when the sunrise happened each day. Now your X's may be in different places than mine. It depends on when you started doing this and when you finished. And if there are X's in different times than mine, that's fine. You can still use them exactly the way they are. I don't want you to erase anything and change it to my information. Just want you to think about what we're going to do on the next slides to analyze the information, the data that we have recorded. So as you can see, I have an X at 6:43 a.m. On day 2 it was at 6:42. On day 3 it was at 6:40. On day 4 it was at 6:39. And on day 5 it was at 6:36. So what do I do with this information? What am I going to learn? I want you to take a pencil and I want you to draw a line from your X for day 1 to your X from day 2. And then you're going to continue to do that from day 2 to day 3, from day 3 to day 4, and finally from day 4 to day 5. So we started on day 1 up here, and then we finished on day 5 down here. Yours may look different than this, but I want you just to look at which way did your line go. So right now in your science notebook, I want you to pause the video and I want you to write down sunrise and what did you notice? So what did you notice from your data that was interesting about the sunrise? So now that we've done our sunrise, we need to look at the sunset. So you'll see again, I have my graph. I have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. Once again, I put my X's. And now, as I said before, your times may be different. You may have X's in different places than I do. That's just because we chose to use different days to record our data, and that is fine. You use your data the way that you have collected it. So just like I did before, I have my 5 X's and I'm going to draw my line from the X on day 1 to day 2, from day 2 to day 3, from day 3 to day 4, and from day 4 to day 5. Again, we started with day 1, mine is down here, and my X for day 5 is up here. So again, what do I observe by looking at this data? So right now, pause the video again, write down sunset, and tell me what did you notice from your data for the sunset? Once you have gotten that information in your book, I want you to think about it. What did you notice with the sunrise and the sunset? How were they different? So when I look back at my sunrise, and I'm going to go up a few slides here so I can look at that again. My sunrise, I noticed that it started at 6:43 on day 1, but by day 5, the sunrise happened at 6:37. So the pattern I noticed is that each day, the sunrise happened earlier. So if your chart, your graph looks the same way, you should notice that as well. Every day in the spring, the sun rises earlier and earlier. Then if I go to my sunset, I notice that on day 1, the sun set at 8:04, but by day 5, the sun set at 8:09. So what do I observe from this data? I notice that as the days went on, the sun set later each day. So again, in the spring, each day has a longer amount between sunrise and sunset. So the sun is going to set later each day. Now, if we were doing this in the fall, we would probably notice that our graphs would look different, because we might start with a day where the sun set at 8:09, but we would find that as we went through each day, from day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, that the sun is actually going to set earlier. Now, we have what's called daylight savings in the spring and in the fall, which changes things too, but either way, the sun is going to change when it rises and when it sets as we go through the different seasons. So, as always, if you want to share your work with me, I'd love to see what you've done. Or if you want to just send me an email and say hi, I would love to hear from you. And I have 2 more videos for this week, so keep up the great work. I will be talking to you all soon.